Hello and welcome back to Easy English Stories. I'm your host Oliver, and today we are reading another short story in slow and clear English to help you improve your vocabulary and your listening skills. And today we are stepping into the kitchen for a warm and comforting story. This story is about discovering a new passion and the simple happiness that comes from making something delicious from scratch, from the beginning. Get ready to smell the bread. Before we begin, here are 5 key words to listen out for. The first is recipe. Recipe. And this is a set of instructions for preparing a particular dish. The next is dough. Dough. And this is a thick mixture of flour and liquid used for baking. The next is to knead. Knead. That's spelt Knead with a silent K. And to knead something is to press and stretch the dough with your hands. Our next word is oven. Oven. And this is a piece of kitchen equipment used for baking or roasting. And finally, satisfying. Satisfying. This is giving pleasure or contentment. Okay, let's get started into our short story for today. Today's story is called The Warmth of Fresh Bread. Leo loved the smell of fresh bread, especially on a cold morning. He often bought loaves of bread from the local bakery, but one day he decided he wanted to try making his own. He found an old family recipe for simple white bread in his grandmother's cookbook. The first step was to mix flour, water, yeast, and a little salt. Leo followed the instructions carefully. Soon he had a sticky, soft mixture. This was the dough. The recipe said he needed to knead it for 10 minutes. Leo pushed and pulled the dough, feeling it change from sticky to smooth and elastic. It was harder work than he expected. After kneading, he put the dough in a warm bowl to rise. He waited for an hour. And when he looked again, the dough had grown much bigger, almost filling the bowl. Amazing, he thought. Next, he shaped the dough into a round loaf and put it into a hot oven. The kitchen slowly filled with a wonderful warm smell. Leo watched through the oven door as the bread turned golden brown. When the timer rang, he carefully took out the loaf. It was big and round with a crispy crust. He tapped the bottom and it sounded hollow, just like the recipe said it should. He cut a slice while it was still warm, spread a little butter on it, and took a bite. It wasn't perfect, maybe a little too salty or not quite as light as the bakery's, but it was his bread. He had made it himself from simple ingredients. The taste was incredibly satisfying. From that day on, baking bread became Leo's favorite hobby. He tried different recipes, wholemeal bread, rolls, and even sweet buns. Some attempts were better than others, but each time he learned something new. He started sharing his bread with neighbours, and they always smiled when they received a warm homemade loaf. Leo discovered that the warmth of fresh bread wasn't just about the temperature. It was about the warmth of creating something, the warmth of sharing, and the quiet joy of a new skill. What a delicious journey Leo had. That brings us to the end of our story today. I hope the warmth of fresh bread brought a smile to your face and helped you to learn at least one new English word. And if you would like more short stories that teach you phrasal verbs in English, check out my book in the description below. And if you're new to the podcast or you've been listening for a while, make sure that you subscribe and rate the podcast 5 stars. It really helps. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.